What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, bringing you guys another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the debut of Gabranth's LD weapon, as well as the small rework that he's going to be getting in conjunction with Transcendence 1. But before we talk about that, as always, if you guys are brand new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. That way you guys are not missing out on future uploads. And if you guys enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that like button and share this video, as it does help me out. Don't forget to check out all of the fantastic resources out there for Dissidia Opera Omnia. I'll be leaving the links down below in the video description as well as the pinned comment. And last but not least, thank you to all of the rest of the fantastic DFFOO content creators, those of you that stream the game, create those guides and spreadsheets and infographics just to make the experience for this game that much better. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Gabranth's LD weapon and his rework. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and talk about Gabranth with his small rework that he gets, and also his LD weapon debut. I am going to be doing this demonstration in Transcendence 1. This actually is the middle node for Transcendence 1, Wave 1 of that particular stage, because that way you guys, also have an idea of what kind of teams to take for this. This is the exact team that I took. It's also the same one that I used for my Paladin Cecil demonstration. Both Gabranth and Paladin Cecil are pretty much crucial if you want the best success for Transcendence 1 when this does drop in Global Opera Omnia. So let's go ahead and start things off with Paladin Cecil's LD here, and once we get to Gabranth, we'll be covering his rework as well as his LD. Alright. And then with Cloud, we're just going to go ahead and use his LD skill. Alright. And let's go ahead and talk about Gabranth. So first off, Gabranth's rework is a very small one. It's going to only be improving his skill 1, which is Circle of Judgment. This will be giving him 2 more additional uses for the skill, so he has a total of 9. And it's also going to be healing the party's Brave by 20% of the HP damage that is dealt. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this right now. There we go. And as you can see, after the HP damage was dealt, we did get that small Brave refund, which is nice. And then also remember, Gabranth will be inflicting 2 debuffs from Circle of Judgment. So you generally want to open up with that if you're going to be playing this character, because his Criminal's Mark debuff, which is automatically applied if you have his EX weapon realized, is going to turn into Outlaw's brand, which is the one that you actually want on enemies. So then that way, Gabranth's better versions of his skills can actually be used. So that is pretty much Circle of Judgment's rework. Now with Paladin Cecil, let's just go ahead and use his skill 2, and then we're going to get Gabranth's turn again. We're going to talk about his LD. Alright, so Gabranth's LD with full max limit break and also LD boards is going to be granting him access to his LD skill called Innocence, which has 3 total uses. For max limit breaking this weapon, you're going to be permanently increasing his own attack by 90%. He will be delivering a 4-hit non-elemental melee AoE Brave plus AoE HP attack delivered twice, or he's going to be delivering this 3 times if you are using Innocence Plus variant. There is a 60% increased Brave damage dealt to a single target. There is a 230% stolen Brave overflow, 10% increased Brave damage dealt while enemy is debuffed. It deals split HP damage. It also heals the party's Brave by 25% of the HP damage dealt. It inflicts that 20% attack down debuff, 20% defense down debuff, and if the target is afflicted with Criminal's Mark or Outlaw's Brand for 6 turns. So it's going to be if those debuffs are only going to happen if, remember, you have that Criminal's Mark or Outlaw's Brand, and it's going to be applied for 6 turns. Now, if the target is afflicted with Outlaw's Brand, the plus variant, which is the one that you want to be using, is going to be force breaking the target, which means that if they have like a high Brave amount, they're going to get automatically broken, or if they're already broken, he's going to be canceling their break status and then just re-breaking them again. He's also going to be granting a framed buff to himself, which is brand new, called Prince's Keeper for 12 turns, and Prince's Keeper is going to be increasing his own max Brave and attack by 30%, and it's also going to be lowering the party's HP damage taken by 20%. So it's a pretty loaded LD skill, provided that you fully max limit break his LD weapon and also unlock his LD board. So let's go ahead and take a look at it right here. I'm going to go ahead and use it on A, and you're going to see that force break. Here we go. And as you can see right there, we broke him. And now we have 12 turns of that Princess Keeper, and because we did have the Outlaws brand active on the enemies, we did get that break and we got the 3 HP dump. So it's a pretty powerful LD skill. Now, as far as the calls that you'll have access to if you do have Gabranth built and you have his LD weapon available, his base call is he's going to be using his skill 1 Circle of Judgment, which is going to be inflicting a 20% attack down and 20% defense down debuff on all targets for 4 turns. And then his LD call allows him to use his LD skill Innocence, and this one will be granting the caller a 20% max brave up and a 20% attack up for 6 turns. Artifact passive wise, you're definitely going to want 3 copies of attack plus 108 and then 3 copies of his C50 passive boost, which is Upholder of the Law boost 2-star. And then if you're looking to invest in his Lufenia High Guard armor, his is the one that increases the attack of the party by 5%. So what are some pros to this character? So he is a fantastic debuffer and can now offer Brave Refund plus survivability with that HP damage reduction for the party. And his ability to force break targets makes him an awesome choice for those boss fights who have phases of massive Brave heals. And then, like we touched up on earlier, both of his calls are great options. Now, what are some cons for this character? So keeping Outlaw's brand, which is the debuff that you want active on enemies, can be tough in fights where debuff cleansing can be problematic, since he needs to have 4 or more debuffs active to keep this on, because that way you'll have access to the better version of his LD skill. First of all, he'll have that force break and things like that. So keeping those debuffs active in fights where enemies like to cleanse themselves a lot, quite often, is probably one of the weaknesses that I could see with this character. And then another one is his damage output is just so-so. Like, it's not the best. It's there, but there's definitely better damage dealers if you're looking solely for like damage. Now, my personal take on this character, I'm going to be pulling with tickets, because from using him on JP, and like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, he made Transcendence 1 much more manageable alongside Paladin Cecil, and I also did use him for some future Lufenia content, which was Boss Rush 3, and also the Amiditelian Lost Chapters Lufenia, so I did get a decent shelf life out of him as a party member before I just regulated to just using him as a call, but he's all in all a very good character if you're going to be looking for a strong debuffer, and now he has ways to give your party some Brave Refund and also keep them alive longer because of that 20% HP damage reduction coming from his LD buff. Now, as far as the banner that is going to be featured, it is going to have Gabranth's LD, EX 35 and 15. It's also going to give you one more chance to get that Paladin Cecil burst if you are looking to get that burst weapon. And then it's going to be featuring 2 older characters, which are Raijin and King. Raijin is actually still fantastic for some of those earlier Lufenia content. Remember, you guys know that I called him a budget Lufenia champion because his kit was very good for some of those earlier Lufenias. He provides Thunder Enchant, he provides a physical attack up, he has that AoE paralysis that you could build up to, that's pretty much a free paralysis as long as you build up the stacks, and overall he was a very solid character. He also had a good HP regen too for the party. And then King is probably going to be the outdated consolation prize on this banner. He hasn't been used nearly as often after he got his EX realization. There are better range damage dealers out there. He does have some pretty good longevity, especially you go into his skill 2, you kind of like refresh his skill 1, so he has that going for him, but I don't see him being used as often because his kit nowadays is just not quite there, but if you're missing King's gear, he is on this banner. Alright guys, well this is going to go ahead and conclude my video for Gabranth's LD and his small rework that he's going to be getting soon in Global Opera Omnia alongside Transcendence 1. Thank you guys again for watching. This is 40 the Broadway Saiyan signing out. Mahalo.